This is Roppongi Rocks, and we are at Roppongi Rocks headquarters with legendary British drummer Dave Dufort.
Hi.
Welcome, Dave.
Hiya.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about the early days of your career in the 60s.
Yep.
You started playing in one of your earliest bands with Miller Anderson and Ian Hunter.
Yes.
This was even before Ian Hunter then moved on to play with Mott the Hoople and made a name for himself. What do you remember from playing with Ian Hunter back in those days?
Oh, well, it was amazing, really. You know, I mean, I'd only been playing drums about, 6 months maybe. And, I mean, nobody knew who Miller Anderson was or Ian Hunter. You know, I mean, now, of course, it's a different story, in particular with Ian. Mm-hmm. But it was just basically my first smash. I was very lucky because I became pro literally from day one. Mm. There was no kind of semi-pro thing, and to end up working with those two musicians who were brilliant even then, it was something. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
And legend has it that shortly after that, around 1968, that English record producer Mickey Most put together, or trying to put together, a project called the New Yardbirds, and he recruited you and Ian Hunter for this. And this was all very confusing according to the stories, because obviously the New Yardbirds was a different band that evolved into Led Zeppelin, which also Mickey Most was involved with various members. And what do you remember from this, and what was the story? I mean, it's very confusing.
Well, to be honest with you, in those days, this was the rise of rock, really, as we know it, heavy. This was the rise of rock going from rock and roll into what evolved into the new wave of British heavy metal, then into all the different variations of heavy metal. But that was the beginning. So everybody was coming out with ideas, right? And suddenly it's very vague with me, but suddenly the New Yardbirds came into it, and I don't really remember much of what went around it. I just remember it was an idea. You know, it was one of 100, maybe 500 ideas that didn't develop for us, but it did eventually develop and become Led Zeppelin. And strangely enough, I actually found something online which said, how did Led Zeppelin come to be? And I was written down as one of the founding members, which really made me feel good, but I laughed my head off,
Indeed, indeed. And you reunited briefly with Miller Anderson in around 1960, well, shortly thereafter, basically, still the end of 60s, with the band Paper Blitz
Tissue.
Paper Blitz Tissue, that's the wonderful name of it. And there was one great single that came out, which was Boy Meets Girl and Grey Man on the B-side. But then nothing happened. You know, there was so much promise in that band, and the skill and the songwriting. What happened?
Well, Paper Blitz Tissue started out under the name The Profile, right? And then all the psychedelic thing was really beginning to happen. And I'm not quite sure what happened with Miller Anderson, but he ended up leaving. We kind of parted company amicably. I think he got another offer and all the rest of it. And we got another guitar player in called Bernie Lee, which was very good. And he was making a name for himself at the time as well. Very good guitar player. And we suddenly, a company, I can't remember who it was, but a company got in touch with us and said, how about you becoming England's first hippie band? Because everyone was going on about San Francisco.
Right.
And we laughed, obviously, as you would.
As you would.
You know, but then they said, well, we can put you out for a lot of money. So we thought, how much? And it was, at that time, it was about 200 a gig, which was a lot of money, you can imagine, can't you? So anyway, we decided to go with it, and so then a guy called Ron Grainer came in. He was a music producer and composer. He's the guy that did the Doctor Who theme, and he did a lot of kind of TV themes and that, but he was known for that. He got in touch with us, and he said that there was going to be a TV movie. It was being made called Death of a Private, taken from a German thing. I can't remember the name of the German, but it was a famous kind of TV cinematic style play. And he said, "Do you want to be in it?" And we said, "Yeah, of course." Yep. So he wrote the theme, and there was Boy Meets Girl was the theme from a TV series, but then at the same time there was this other thing which was the TV movie. It was original name Wojciech. That was a German title, and he said, "Oh, well, I'll produce that as well," and he gave us this double offer, 2 things, and we said, "Yeah, okay, we'll do them both." And we did them both, and we were getting a hell of a lot of publicity, a lot of press. We started doing lots and lots and lots of gigs, and then for whatever reason the band fell apart. I don't know. They put a different singer in, then they put a female in. They said, "Oh, you've got to be like Jefferson Airplane." We didn't want to be like Jefferson Airplane. We didn't get along with the female singer, and I think all these things contributed to the band splitting up.
And you were replaced at the very end by a teenager on drums, who then went on to be the drummer for Yes, King Crimson and Genesis, Bill Bruford. Yeah. Did you actually meet him at that stage, or he came in after you actually?
No, I didn't, but I'll tell you a funny little story. Yes contacted me about 5 times, right? And every time they said yes, I said no. And that is not a joke, really, because I didn't know who and what the hell they were. But then the weird thing is, Bill Bruford, who took my place in Paper Blitz Tissue, he's the guy that joined. How strange is that?
Yeah. So they said yes, you said no, then you said who? They said no, not the who. Yes.
Yeah, there was that kind of conversation.
Excellent. Well, this is Roppongi Rocks. Stay tuned for more stories from the British rock scene and heavy metal scene. Dave Dufort is full of stories. This is just the beginning. Thank you very much, Dave.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Rock on.